Hey everybody, this is once again nothing but a bunch of theoretical bullshit, and I mean that today because I am talking about something that is both theoretical and bullshit. I'm taking a break from the regularly scheduled program this time, and somebody asked me a question that I thought was really cool, and I want to. This is a call for video responses. I don't care who you are, if you're atheist, Christian, any subscriber, anybody who wants to respond to this, they should. And the question is. It's one of those hypothetical fun questions, but the question is, if you could have 3 hours, if you could sit down and you could have 3 hours of conversation, or really whatever you want, with any 5 people in the world, who would they be? Now, the 5 people can be historical, alive, dead, fictitious, non-fiction, someone you've met, someone you've never met, hero, villain, human, non-human. Literally, it could be Mickey Mouse. It does not matter. Like, think outside the box. Try to be as creative and innovative as you can. Second rule, it's 3 hours. You can only have 3 hours of conversation with this person. You can't have a day. You can't have years. If it's something you want to learn from them, if it's a hero of yours that you want to ask questions about, fine, but you've only got 3 hours with them. 3, there's no language barrier. There's no language barrier. So if they speak Spanish and you speak English, then they automatically speak English for those 3 hours, and there you go. 4, your interaction with them does not have any causal effect on, like, reality or the real world. So you can't, you'll remember it, but they won't. So basically that means, like, you can't, you can't choose Hitler so that you can sit down and have 3 hours to convince him not to do the Holocaust. You can't do that. So even though you might remember it and it'll affect you for the rest of your life and you can take whatever value you derive from it, they will not remember or have any memory of this. This is more for your benefit, for your information. But you can do whatever you want. If you want them to teach you something, fine, they can teach you something. If you just want to learn things, you can learn things. If you just want to have a conversation with them, if it's a lost loved one or somebody that died when you were young, it can be anything you want. You have to think outside the box. And I think how you answer the question is a lot more valuable and a lot more insightful than necessarily what answers you actually give. So your 5 and why. And I'll start. I will start just to give an example. My 5. My first one would be Rob Thomas, the lead singer of Matchbox 20, who's now a solo artist. He is my favorite singer-songwriter, and I think he's written some of my favorite songs that I've listened to in my life, and I would really want a chance to meet him and ask him about songwriting. I write songs myself, and just get his ideas and maybe even play some songs for him and get him to critique my songs and just have a dialogue. I think that's what I would want to do. I'd want to ask him about his process and how he does things. My second would be Richard Dawkins, and this is not because Richard Dawkins is a famous atheist. In fact, reading The God Delusion, I don't even think his arguments for the existence of God are that great. It has nothing to do with anything like that. I would want to meet Richard Dawkins because he is quite possibly the best evolutionary biologist that we have alive today. He knows Darwin probably better than Darwin knows himself, and he's contributed more to the science of evolution than anybody else. So that's why I would talk to Richard Dawkins, because I want to know about evolution. I think there's a lot of things that I could learn that are probably pretty hard for me as a layman to understand, and I think he has a talent for making really difficult science understandable to the general public, so that's him. The disciple Thomas is my third one. That's right, a lot of people are going to say Jesus. Boring! I don't want to talk to Jesus. I want to talk to somebody who has an objective perspective on Jesus, and who better than the skeptic of the group. I think I've read the Gospel of Thomas, and I think if that Gospel can be accurately attributed to Jesus' disciple Thomas, then I think that's really cool, some of the things that he said. And I also want to know what Jesus was like. I don't want to ask Jesus what Jesus was like, because he would be biased. But I'd want to know from Thomas. Next one would be God. That's right. I said God, even though I am an atheist. I do believe God is fictitious, so I can still say that. Because, and specifically the Judeo-Christian God, because I would want to be able to come face to face with a being like that, comprehensible or not, and just say, why'd you do this? What's the reasoning behind this? How does this work? How does that work? Why would you choose this instead of this? Yes, the answers won't matter, because according to me, and my arguments. It's, not a real person anyway, but it'd be interesting to find out. It'd be a fun little exercise in fantasy. And the last one for me is my grandfather. When my dad was 10 years old, my grandfather walked out on the family, and he disappeared. Nobody's ever seen or heard from him since. And that really had a huge impact on my father's life and who my father is and the kind of person that he is. And I think a lot of that, goes back to what happened when he was 10 years old when his father walked out on him. So I would want just a chance to find out what happened and what the deal is. And that's personal, but that's my grandfather. So those are my 5. So your turn, everybody. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.